I love my mother, and I do have good memories. I do. There's more bad memories, but I do have good memories. So I struggle with this inside of me all my life. So I do have family, but I don't have family in a sense. But I do know that there are people who want to, and this is also recorded, take the money that's in her possession, which was originally taken from me. Hello, it's January 2025, and before I get into this video, I have two announcements. One, today is my birthday, and two, this video is going to be of a personal nature, very personal, but it does tie in with my efforts and living in the aftermath, and you'll understand when I get into this video how it all ties in together. So if you're not interested in the personal side of my story, then skip this video. I don't know what more I can tell you. I'm also going to say that I've discussed this over the years in videos, and I think the last time was around 5 years ago, actually, around this time. And I've shown over the years a plethora of independent evidence, which includes audio recordings, emails, letters, freedom of information, materials, etc. And these are in older video samples, like taken from all these sources. Now, some of those videos are still up, I think. Most of them are not public. And I'm going to try to see about including those as overlays in this video. But anyway, I probably have as many videos not public right now as I have public. So keep that in mind. There's a lot for me to go through. Anyway, I'm totally digressing. This is going to be a difficult video for me to do, so just bear with me, please, if you are interested in listening. So this video is inspired by people asking me, as I live in the aftermath of struggling to survive, to keep warm and everything else. So, yeah, family, where's your family? Why aren't your family helping you? In order to understand the answer, I have to give the backstory to it, which takes me back all the way to the beginning. The irony being, today's my birthday. That's how far back I'm going. And I'm just going to skip over a lot of parts, and I'm going to skim through some highlights. But it's important to understand how my answer today, how I get to my answer today, by kind of understanding everything historically. And again, I'm not going to ramble on. As I said, I've done a lot of other more detailed, thorough videos showing evidence and everything else. But anyway, so when I came into this world, I was not alive by a deliberate attempt not to have me. I'm word crafting. And you have to keep in mind, this was back in the day when these types of things were not done in a so-called controlled environment. I say so-called because it is the taking of a life, regardless if in a controlled environment or not. But anyway, in looking back, I can say now that unfortunately, obviously, I survived that. I was not alive for 45 minutes. Now I'm just going to interject here. There were 2 other times in my life where I was not alive, around 5 years old and around 12 years old, both by drowning. And the second event around 12 years old, I've mentioned in a few woo-woo videos as a descriptive. I'm not going down that tangent here, but I'm just letting you know. So early on in my life, in my prepubescent years, I was not alive 3 times. Now, I'm going to fast forward. I'm going to skip over my childhood, which involved sexual abuse by multiple different people, mental and physical torture, having an unstable environment, being shuffled around to stay at different people's places. This is my very younger years. And I'm going to just fast forward to around the time that I moved out. So I moved out just after I turned 17, not because I really wanted to, felt compelled. Because just before all that, my mother and her husband tried to have me ingest something in some form, I don't know, that would make me not alive. Again, I'm word crafting here. Whatever this substance that they wanted me to ingest, I don't know. But I was literally in the hospital, and once again, a common theme throughout my life, doctors were surprised that I was still alive because I was bleeding from every orifice. I was in the hospital. And I'm just, as I'm talking, I'm just recalling that whole time and when I finally came to in the middle of the night and everything else. So anyway, sorry. And then once I was released from the hospital and stable enough, I just grabbed my stuff and made my way to the city where I primarily grew up in to face the world. Now, it would be a few years after that where, you know, I'm just trying to find my way in the world. I'm a teenager, and I had a very physically demanding job, and a piece of equipment had broke and smashed some bones. Had to have emergency surgery for that, or I lost part of my limb. But anyway, during this time, I couldn't work, and I was waiting for a claim, like a compensation claim, to be finalized or whatever. And those people took advantage of me as well by saying that just sign this. There was a whole list of names, just said attendance. They had me come to a meeting, but they attached that attendance sheet to a release sheet. And the company had, I had no recourse with the company, but anyway. But I was also taken advantage of by my mother, because during that time, she said that I could borrow from this insurance trust fund. She would help me do it. So I'm like, okay. And I remember when they came over, her and her husband, and I had signed the document. It wasn't filled out. She said they were in a hurry, they don't have time. I thought this was going to be the first visit since I was on my own with them, but they didn't stay. It was just more like 30 seconds. Just sign this, they'll take care of the rest. And I'm going to emphasize that I'm the one that signed this blank document, because I'm going to segue in a moment to something else here. And that was that. But what they ended up doing was taking that document and basically taking all the money. There was a condition of me borrowing from it. I had to repay it back within a certain time frame, which I did, as not to jeopardize whatever conditions or anything else. So I had that money stolen from me. I was going to segue here for a second. Over the years here, she would always say that I had her signature on a blank document, and she would always threaten, and I show any emails of this, where if I used her signature for anything illegal, she would pursue every civil and criminal action or whatever against me. Never really understood like why. And I would always ask, well, why would I have your signature on a blank document? And then it dawned on me, because of her mental state, she projects, and it was actually my signature on a blank document, and perhaps there's some sort of form of guilt there or something, but the money was stolen from me. So you can kind of maybe picture a theme here of where my answer to why isn't family helping, where are they, and everything else. And then I had some unfortunate issues with my mother. I'm fast forwarding here. Say when I was in my law practice, I would get bombarded with there was a whole week from morning till night, just all these different businesses calling. And I'm like, I never called you, but like, I don't know what you're talking about calling me back or anything else. And then a few people who actually took the call themselves said, yeah, it was kind of weird. It was a woman's voice, older, slight little accent, etc. Anyway, and then over the years as well, I've mentioned even in a recent video how I have my identification stolen, but some of this identification you would never get, like it couldn't be anything stolen online or used, but that I can't prove, and I'm not going to speculate. So I'm going to fast forward once again to December of 2019, where when I was talking to someone, they assumed that I knew about how I came into this world, and so I replied back, and I didn't let on that I wasn't sure what they were talking about. But anyway, I had found a way to reach my mother, and we ended up communicating. And anyway, but during the months that followed in 2020, I honestly thought her and I were, I guess you can say, reconciling. And I hadn't seen her since I came back from Europe around 1999. And long story short, I ended up going to visit. She had open arms, and it was really bizarre. Well, I'm not going to go down that path, but anyway. But then one morning, she wanted to pursue a legal action against Calgary, and I'm like, for what? And tears, some would call crocodile tears, what they did to me. And I told her, you don't have I don't even know where this came from. Don't have a case. So after I reminded her that I used to practice law as agent, okay. 8 o'clock that night, she told me to leave. Again, everything I've proven. And that hurt so much. So I drove across country, hoping that the reestablishment of a mother and son relationship. But I realized during that time, meeting my mother after over 2 decades, with the knowledge base that I have and everything else, she has a lot of serious issues. And I had to come to grips with that in real time during the visit. But anyway, and I'm just actually going to add in as well, over the past 6 months, within the past 6 months, I tried to reach out to her 2 times. The first time to let her know about my health and the direction that's going, and just over these recent holidays. My father, I was reunited with him around the mid-2000s, and before going out west from my province of origin, I had made sure that he was set up in a nice hospice. And because of the nonsense that I had to deal with in Calgary, I couldn't be with him when he passed away December of 2013. And I had to make the decision on the phone, essentially, to pull the plug. And I struggled with that. Maybe sometimes I still struggle. Like, I knew that's what he wanted, because we once talked about quality of life versus quantity of life. And that was really the foundation. I mean, there's other things obviously discussed, but I never really had a chance to come to grips with anything like that, because everything that was taking place in Calgary was happening, and I was trying to cope with my own, dealing with the trauma of everything and everything else. But anyway, I will segue here that Bill Cummings, the so-called criminal trial judge, actually had the audacity to say that there is no evidence of my father passing away, despite my providing a couple pieces of documentation. That's how wicked and crooked the Calgary court system is and the people within it. But I digress. So now, I guess I should say, my family comes from Central Eastern Europe region. I don't know any of them. I met them when I was younger, when I would go for the summer there or whatever, but I don't know them. I do have an uncle, which once in a while will communicate. He's elderly and he's going through his own stuff, but just once in a while we'd communicate, usually through writing. So, with all that said, when people ask, so do I have family, where are they, everything else, it's a very complex answer. Well, the answer is simple, but the behind is complex. I do have family, but the only one that I guess you could say I should be in communication with is my mother, and I do miss her, and I do love her, despite everything that I've gone through with her in life. I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to say, people have asked if everything, say in my childhood and with my mother and everything else, was so bad, then why throughout my life did I try to have a mother and son relationship? I don't even know how to try to explain this. I love my mother, and I do have good memories. I do. There's more bad memories, but I do have good memories. So I struggle with this inside of me all my life. Like a fear of her, to remembering some good times. I don't know how to put this into words. You have to experience this. And I know people in this type of situation that I'm in, whether it be with a parent or even someone else who they love, but it's very dysfunctional, very maybe abusive, whatever, people struggle. And in a sense, you can, or I can, for example, understand how someone in an abusive relationship still keeps going back to someone because whatever. Now, when it comes to just man-woman type of relationship, abusive, whatever, that's no-brainer, just move on. But it seems to be a lot different when it comes to a parent. And within the past 6 months, I did reach out again. One, just to give an update on my health and the direction that's going, and just recently over the holidays. So I do have family, but I don't have family in a sense. And I remember growing up, especially when I was in my late teens, early 20s, mid-20s even, seeing how parents encourage their children to exceed them. And in my life, my mother did everything to hinder any progress in my life. From the time when I was very close to becoming a police officer myself, and some other examples. So I've gotten used to my whole life without family. And then for me, just to go off topic but connected, when I married the woman who I married, to me that was the first time that I felt I had the start of my own family. And I've done videos about that and how that all ended with her being trafficked. But as I'm talking, I'm reflecting also on 2020 as an adult with life experience, seeing my mother with serious problems. I don't even know if she is alive right now, but I do know that there are people who want to, and this is also recorded, take the money that's in her possession, which was originally taken from me. And so I would like to know if she is alive, if nothing else. But anyway. So I don't have family that could help me. And throughout my life, my achievements, I can say, were by my own hand. I don't blame anyone in my past, for example, where I am today. At the same time, no one can get credit for my achievements prior to where I am today. And this is not a way to live. The whole image of a lone wolf surviving life. And I've done videos, one video specifically, why love is so important. But I do miss love. Anyway, that's all I want to say to answer that question and give the backstory to it. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, oh, when is it going to get easier? When you die.